Hey, Nick here. So Thanksgiving is usually a time when a few big movies get released for the holiday. And this year there are two big ones that are coming out. There's Ghostbusters Afterlife and House of Gucci, which are both being released for the Thanksgiving season. Ghostbusters Afterlife opens this Friday, and House of Gucci opens on Wednesday of next week, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Now, I've not seen either of them, but I do have thoughts, so I will post a video after I see them. I am seeing Ghostbusters Afterlife this weekend with my folks. I'm going on Saturday. And it seems like a perfect movie to see with my parents. My parents and I, for a time, were going to the movies every Saturday, seeing at least one or two movies a week. And then, of course, the pandemic hit, so that stopped. And just recently, people started going back to the movies. And my parents, at this point, my dad's 80 now, and he's starting to not remember a lot of things. God bless him. And so, remembering a lot of the movies that we saw over the past few years, he's like, I don't remember. I don't care. Where are the Three Stooges? I don't give a shit. So I figured Ghostbusters Afterlife would be a good movie to see with my folks, because my dad knows Ghostbusters, my mom knows. They won't be bored. It'll be something they can identify with. I made the horrible mistake of going with my parents earlier this year when the pandemic let up a little bit. We went to go see Paul Schrader's The Card Counter, which I loved. I think it's actually one of the best movies of the year. My dad, however, I believe wanted to murder me when it was over. So he's not into that sort of strange, artsy, challenging kind of shit. He wants to sit in the movie theater. We went to see the Bond movie. My parents and I went to go see No Time to Die. We saw that together. They loved it. Perfect. So Ghostbusters Afterlife, perfect movie to go with my folks to see. So I'm doing that on Saturday. I'm seeing House of Gucci Wednesday the 24th or whatever. I'm seeing it the day before Thanksgiving. So I'm going to go see that. So I got to tell you, both of them, I'm not looking forward to either of them. I'm just not. Let me start with Ghostbusters Afterlife. I could not possibly care less about Ghostbusters. I know it's an unpopular opinion. Sorry. I don't like Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters 2 is unspeakable. I was 19 when Ghostbusters came out, so I wasn't a kid. I did not grow up with the toys. I didn't watch the cartoons. Did not care. None of that shit made any kind of impact on me or my life at all. Basically, when I saw Ghostbusters, I was a 19-year-old who was very disappointed in a Bill Murray movie. That's how I felt about Ghostbusters. That's pretty much how I still feel about Ghostbusters. Didn't care about any of the special effects. Didn't care about the goddamn marshmallow guy crossing the streams, capturing the Slimer. Didn't give a shit about any of that stuff. Never have. Never will. So I was never a big guy. When Ghostbusters was over, I was like, I could have stayed home and watched Stripes again and had a much better time, or I could have watched Caddyshack. Hell, I would have rather watched Where the Buffalo Roam than Ghostbusters, and that's still how I feel about it. There are some things in it that I like. Some of the smart-ass comedy that Bill Murray did, I love Harold Ramis. But overall, disappointed, didn't care, whatever. Ghostbusters 2 is unwatchable, except for Peter McNichol, who's very funny in it, and Rick Moranis. And Rick Moranis, by the way, fantastic in the original Ghostbusters. So there are people in it that I like and things in it that I like. It's beyond me how big and institutional and massive that this thing has got. I don't get it. So this new movie's not for me. It's clearly not for me. And it seems to me like it's a total shameless cash grab. That it is just yanking on the heartstrings of nostalgia because, generations of kids and shit have grown up now watching the movie over and over again and walking around with the proto-packs or whatever the hell they are. And it just seems to me like it reeks of desperation and nostalgia cash grab to me. They got the three, living Ghostbusters in the movie. I haven't seen it yet, but I assume they come back for the last 10 minutes or something. I don't care. The stuff in Ghostbusters that I liked was the smart-ass comedy by Bill Murray. It was not the special effects. It was not the action. It was not the character, the ghosts, or any of that shit. The plot, the ridiculous Dan Aykroyd, overcomplicated, ridiculous plot where he makes up 4-syllable words and shit like that. None of that stuff worked for me, and that's all that I see in the trailer for the new one. It seems to me like, okay, let's make the special effects bigger, let's make the action more, because that's what people want. No, it's not. I don't care. Add Paul Rudd. He seems to be this new generation's, he can fit into where, Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis stood for those years. I don't know. He was part of the Seth Rogen bunch. So put his ass in there, and that'll satisfy them. Get a bunch of cute kids. Bring back all the cool effects that everybody wants, and we'll make a great movie out of it. No, you won't. It's going to suck. Here's the thing. Of all the Ghostbusters things that have ever been made, the only one that I truly like is the reboot from 2016 with the women, with Melissa McCarthy and Kate McKinnon, and Kristen Wiig, and Leslie Jones. To me, funniest one of any of the movies. I thought it was by far the best of any of the Ghostbusters movies, by far. And I know, because this is the internet, some asshole right now is going to make a comment like, you don't know what you're talking about. Women shouldn't be Ghostbusters. Blow it out your ass, okay? Blow it out your ass. All of the morons who got pissed off because the Ghostbusters were women and made some horrible and vile comments online about it, you're assholes. You're morons. It was great. It was funny, and it was better than any of the Ghostbusters movies. So yeah, that's where I stand. You're looking at a guy who could not care less about the original Ghostbusters and thought the best Ghostbusters movie was the Paul Feig reboot with the women. Best, by far. So this new one, clearly not made for me. So I don't care. I just don't care. So it's, I have no nostalgic feelings for it, and I know that there are millions and millions of people who do. The movie's going to make a ton of money. And I know that a lot of people are emotionally attached to it. I'm not one of those people. I think Ghostbusters is at best a fair movie that I don't care. I just don't care about. Again, I'd rather watch Where the Buffalo Roam if I'm going to do that. And I've also realized that I just don't like Dan Aykroyd. Here's the thing about Dan Aykroyd, really quickly. I know this is an aside, but very quickly. Brilliant on Saturday Night Live. One of the greatest cast members in the history of SNL. One of the best writers in the history of SNL. His work on Saturday Night Live is magnificent. From the performances to the writing to the characters to the things that he developed on that show, Dan Aykroyd was absolutely brilliant on Saturday Night Live. Almost everything else he's done, I hate. Almost everything else. I love him in 1941. I've liked him here and there and other things. Not a big Blues Brothers guy, not my thing. I've realized that the stuff that Dan Aykroyd creates, I can't stand. Like he wrote most of Ghostbusters with Harold Ramis, who is a god. And like the stuff that he's really creatively responsible for with shit like Dr. Detroit and Nothing But Trouble. This is the real Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd, just hang out at the House of Blues and sell your vodka. That's it. That's all we need from you. So anyway, Dan Aykroyd, get out of here. Except for Saturday Night Live. Brilliant. And Harold Ramis, one of the greatest gods of all time. The man wrote and directed and participated in some of the key and greatest and most seminal comedies of my generation. He could do no wrong. I'm assuming the best stuff in Ghostbusters was written by him. And just having him in those movies made them better. And the fact that he's gone also doesn't add any excitement for me to see the new one. So anyway, the new Ghostbusters movie, it's not for me. It's not for me. I'll see it with my folks. I'm sure that they'll enjoy it, and I'm sure I'll hate it with the little bastard from Stranger Things and all that crap. Paul Rudd, trying to replace the snarky comedy with a guy from the Seth Rogen movie seems to be the MO here. But no. Now, House of Gucci, on the other hand, this could be entertaining, and I mean entertaining in the shittiest way possible. This movie, every trailer, every scene everything that I've ever seen about this movie looks like a massive, horrific train wreck ready to happen. Ridley Scott is your director, and let me just say this. Screw Ridley Scott, okay? Ridley Scott can kiss my ass. Ridley Scott has made exactly 2 great movies, and that's it. Alien and Blade Runner. They're both great. Blade Runner being one of the greatest science fiction movies ever made. He's made a couple of movies here and there that I like. Thelma and Louise, except for the ending, which I hated, and except for the fact that Gina Davis hops into bed with Brad Pitt about 8 hours after she was sexually attacked, and that would never happen in real life. I don't care how good looking Brad Pitt is. A woman who is assaulted in that kind of way, where the guy who assaulted her is killed right in front of her, is not going to hop into bed with another guy 8 hours later. But it has to happen because it's a road movie and they have to lose their money. Brad Pitt takes their money. That's part of the road movie plot. So anyway, so Thelma and Louise is good except for the ending in that scene. But outside of that, I would say that 85%, almost 90% of the movies that Ridley Scott has made suck. He sucks. He's a terrible director. He also was just quoted recently as saying, "Why do comic book movies have to be so boring and have no plot?" Oh, really? Mr. Prometheus? Really? Pot, kettle, black, moron. Anyway, Ridley Scott can kiss my ass. So anyway, he's the director of this nonsense. Oh, by the way, he also had a fantastic movie that came out earlier this year called The Last Duel, which was Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and Adam Driver fighting over who had the worst mullet for 2.5 hours. So anyway, he directed it. The cast is Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, Jared Leto, Al Pacino, and Jeremy Irons. This thing looks ridiculous. It looks unintentionally, hilariously fucking awful on so many levels. I think this is going to be biblically bad. Like Trainwreck. Like Mystery Science Theater bad. On every level. Excuse me. So, you've got Ridley Scott. Yeah, Ridley Scott directing. You've got this cast based on a true story. Now, I don't follow any of this shit. I don't follow designers. I don't follow fashion. It is a world that it's not possible for me to remotely care less about. But I guess, like, this woman marries into the Gucci family. All hell breaks loose. She plots a murder. Somebody gets killed. She hires somebody to kill her husband or her ex-husband or some shit, and then gets convicted of it. Whatever. Anyway, it's based on this true story. I'm sure a lot of people out there are interested in this designer bullshit, but I'm not. So you got all these people playing real people and doing weird accents and bad accents. And it looks like a Ryan Murphy production. It looks like it should be like this impeachment thing that was just on, which was fucking horrible. Or any number of these things that Ryan Murphy does. It seems like that. It's like Ridley Scott doing a Ryan Murphy movie with all these people playing real people, and so it looks ridiculous. The like Pacino looks like he doesn't even know where the hell he is. What? You want to arrest me? Huh? What? Glasses? Huh? Whatever. Jared Leto again, like gaining a bunch of weight and shaving his head. Doing all this transformative shit. Jared Leto's a jag-off. He's been good in a lot of things, but let's just face it, he's a jag-off. And this movie looks like, I mean, when I first saw the poster for it, I thought Jared Leto was Jeffrey Tambor because he looks exactly like him, and I was actually like, ooh, legitimately excited. Like, oh, Jeffrey Tambor's in this movie. And then it was Jared Leto, and I went, oh, please. So anyway, you got all these people in it. Jeremy Irons, who I adore. But Jeremy Irons, if you give him a paycheck and let him wear a robe with a scarf, he'll show up. Adam Driver, like again, he just shows up now and does anything that people give to him. But this Lady Gaga. So here's the deal. I never been a fan of Lady Gaga. Never have. I've tried. Back when she first broke onto the scene, I didn't give a shit about her music. I don't like it. Not crazy about her. I don't think she's incredibly talented, wearing meat dresses and all that stuff way back then. And then she started to act. Again, speaking of Ryan Murphy, she was in those American Horror things. But I will say this. I loved her in A Star Is Born. She was great. And I loved the movie A Star Is Born. I thought it was a terrific movie. I thought she was great in it. I liked the music. I liked Shallow. So for a little while there, I was a fan, and now it's gotten to the point where I just don't give a shit about her. Like, I love the stuff that she does with Tony Bennett, the standards and all that stuff. I don't think she's much of an actress outside of Star Is Born. But this accent that she's doing in House of Gucci, again, which I haven't seen, I've just seen scenes and trailers from it. She sounds like Ren Hoek from Ren and Stimpy. It's that bad. It's that affected. I'm an Italian. I'm an Italian American, and I come from a family of Italians who had accents. A lot of people off the boat, that's not an accent I've ever heard before. And in fact, a lot of the accents I've seen in the trailer are ridiculous. But hers, at one point in the movie, I haven't seen it yet, but I would not be surprised if she called Adam Driver a fat, bloated idiot, because she sounds exactly like Ren from Ren and Stimpy. I believe that's her big inspiration. I think she studied hours and hours and hours of Ren and Stimpy episodes to get that accent down. And if her intention was to sound like an insane, ridiculous cartoon character named Ren Hoek, then she's succeeded. Again, I think my prediction on this movie is biblically bad. Biblically bad. And Lady Gaga, it's an embarrassing accent. And I haven't even seen the movie yet. The movie's 2 hours and 37 minutes. And I would imagine after 45 minutes I'm going to want to put a shotgun in my mouth. But it may be so bad it's funny. It may be so awful it's good. That's the only sort of thing that I'm hoping for, because it looks like it has the possibility of being like camp. That like 15 years from now, people will be watching this movie at midnight, laughing their asses off at how horrible Lady Gaga's accent is, and how stupid the movie is, and how ridiculous Jared Leto is, and how Al Pacino doesn't even know where the hell he is. So those are the two movies that are coming out for Thanksgiving. Clearly not made for me. Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I couldn't care less about, so I will review it. I'll do one of these things and post it up on the Facebook and on the YouTubes and all that shit. And then House of Gucci, which I couldn't, which is just going to be ridiculous. So those are your two big movies. There's also a Jane Campion movie that's coming out that I'm going to see tomorrow called The Power of the Dog, which will be on Netflix as well. And that's not, a crowd pleaser in any possible way. And it'll clearly be the best movie that comes out in the next couple of weeks. So anyway, House of Gucci, it's going to be shit. Ghostbusters Afterlife, it's going to be shit. Happy Thanksgiving.